The engine had a load capacity of hundreds of tons, allowing it to comfortably glide in the sky without fear of being shot down by any weapon at that time. Another part of the operation campaign of the B-52 Strategic Bomber Squadron is a large escort jet fleet with a large-scale jamming function to help the B-52s avoid the range of missile systems. During the enemy's air defense, these B-52s often went in groups of 3 in front in an arrow formation, throwing more than 90 tons of bombs into the same area of about 25 square kilometers to fight against B-52s from the Democratic Republic of Vietnam that were defeated by the Soviet Union. Aid for weapons such as the MiG-17 jet fighter and the improved version of the MiG-21 with a speed twice the speed of sound, which is the enemy of America's heavy and slow fighters. Besides, the most significant must be the SAM-2 missile complex. With a range of 60 kilometers and a maximum flight ceiling of 25 kilometers with the ability to control radar to chase targets. The SAM-2 missile is truly an effective B-52 hunting weapon. Unfortunately, in 1967, the Egyptian army let SAM-2 missiles slip when it received Soviet aid from America's ally Israel. Thanks to that, the U.S. has all the information about the SAM-2 missile system and the P-12 radar system, so it has created extremely effective jamming devices. The B-52G version is equipped with 16 electric jammers, actively equipped with 2 negative jammers and 20 jamming receivers. According to some American pilots, the jamming system alone on the B-52G costs the same as an F-4 fighter. In addition, the B-52G is also equipped with 4 bullets. When launched, the ADM-20 decoy missile will create a false signal like a B-52 aircraft to create a false target for the enemy. The B-52 squadrons also do not operate independently but are escorted by electronic reconnaissance aircraft and fighter jets with accompanying active and automatic jamming devices. If that is not enough to reassure them, the U.S. also brought them in. In battle, the powerful weapon is an anti-radar missile. This missile will detect radar signals and after launching, it will closely follow and destroy sitting targets emitted by the Vietnamese People's Army, not giving in to the American troops on the Vietnamese side. Nam also had the answer that Vietnam's air defense troops had successfully assembled a new set of weapons with the symbol KX, which came from China's K-860 radar with a waveband to capture B-52 targets extremely accurately, thereby guiding the way for missiles. In addition, a document called the B-52 Fighting Method of Missile Troops, also known as the Red Cover Handbook summarizing many experiences in distinguishing between real and fake targets in front of an oscilloscope, was published and put into practice. The SAM-2 missile's own battle against the black Americans grasping the frequency to destroy the radio signals controlling the troops, we discussed with Soviet experts and changed the frequency, surprising the Americans and still using it to destroy the B-52 extremely effective against the extremely dangerous anti-radar missiles of the U.S. The Vietnamese military has researched to neutralize them by broadcasting, then suddenly shutting down and turning the antenna in another direction in front of many radar sources that continuously turn on and off. Future American missiles will not be able to detect where the target is and will follow downward inertia. In addition to our radar battlefield combined with diversionary tactics, we have created many fake battlefields with rockets made of compressed air when the real battlefield is launched. The fake battlefields are also detonated with explosions combined with burning straw caused smoke and dust to disperse the American military's firepower against the enemy's modern low-altitude fighter jets, typically the F-111 Thunder God, which cost up to $15 million at that time. Vietnam had using a dense anti-aircraft fire network to welcome 14 anti-aircraft artillery regiments and 364 degrees of militia. The Vietnam Self-Defense Force has applied a new and extremely powerful tactic that has made the U.S. unpredictable in terms of air force and military. The Vietnamese team emphasized the use of surprise tactics, a secret approach, a quick attack, and a quick retreat after launching such a missile. Both sides are ready to fight. At the end of Part 1, after reviewing the correlation of forces and combat tactics, we have seen the high determination of both sides in this campaign. A campaign determines the advantage at the negotiating table, or in other words, it is the fate of the entire war. The 12-day and night war fought by Hanoi, not by the United States, deserves to be honored as one of the most classic battles not only in Vietnamese history but also in world military history. A gambling match, according to the American press, believes that if we keep fighting, within 3 months the American B-52 monster will become extinct. A weapon that no other country in the world has ever been able to shoot down. In Part 1, we took a look at the combat forces and combat tactics that both sides plan to use in this war. We won't keep you waiting any longer. We'll come to Part 2 about the war itself. On December 18, 1907, the first groups of B-52s launched the bloody 12-day and night battle officially opened a few kilometers north of Hanoi. Missile Battalion 59 received orders from the headquarters of Regiment 261. Destroy Target Group 671 at an altitude of 10,000 meters. Control Officer Duong Van Thuan adjusted the antenna to the October 3 azimuth and then turned on the broadcast to capture the target. Before the B-52 entered, Thuan pressed the button to launch 2 bullets immediately. Then, with the surveyors, they focused on the oscilloscope screen while following the target and directing bullets before the B-52 was shot down when approaching the target to defuse 3 out of 6 bombs. The pilot died, and that was the first B-52 to be lost. Shot down during the night campaign of December 20 and 21, Vietnam's Air Defense Force launched 36 SAM-2 missiles during 3 attacks. The missile launches were very wisely organized and controlled, resulting in the shooting down on the spot 6 B-52s and shot them another B-52 at midnight that night. The U.S. Strategic Air Command canceled the order for B-52s to bomb the second phase on targets in Hanoi and switched to other targets. In the north, for the first time in the history of American air raids, the bomber formation on its way to attack the target had to fall and retreat because it encountered the enemy's air defense system. On December 24, the Thai Nguyen Army and people shot down 5 aircraft, including a B-52, 2 A-4S and 2 A-7S. On December 25, the U.S. stopped bombing for the Christmas holiday that morning. President Nixon, the White House meeting, declared that the bombing was humanitarian and aimed only at military targets, but the scenes of devastated residential areas in Hanoi and Haiphong sold him. Grandfather. Nixon immediately ordered a blockade of information about the campaign. Some B-52 pilots resisted the flight order, however, these pilots were immediately arrested and brought back to the U.S., some of whom were tried. On the Vietnamese side, our army redeployed forces to repair equipment and replenish ammunition. The missile force protecting Hanoi has increased to 13 battalions northeast of Hanoi with additional missile fire battalions 71 and 72. Southeast. Hanoi has 2 battalions 87 and 88 anti-aircraft guns protecting Hanoi, reinforced to 7 regiments including 42 artillery companies and 2,100 mm artillery companies of the capital's self-defense. Nearly 200 militia and self-defense platoons using infantry and individual guns, 14.5 mm machine guns, and shooting low-flying enemy aircraft were deployed at 19 air defense observation posts located around Hanoi. After more than a day without the sound of bombs and bullets from 10:15 p.m. to 11:42 p.m. on December 26, the U.S. mobilized 120 B-52s and 113 attack aircraft to continuously attack with unprecedented density on Hanoi, Haiphong, Tai Nguyen at the same time, and this was an attack. America's most fierce campaign in the U.S. Air Force campaign to destroy the residential areas of Kam Thien and Duong Textile Factory Collective Area on March 8, Mai Hong Collective Area, Bach Mai, Gia Lam, and Gia Lam airports. Stations and gathering points at the intersection of Vong, Yen Vien, Gia Lam, Van Dien, Jop Bat, County Loa, Dong An. At 22:17 the minute Kam Thien neighborhood was hit by 3 B-52 bomb marks extending from Ocho. Coconut bombs came close to the Unified Park. Cluster bombs on both sides of a 1.2 kilometers long street. 278 people were killed, including 91 women in their 40s, 55 elderly men and children, making 178 children orphans. More than 290 people were injured, more than 2,000 houses collapsed, of which 534 houses were completely destroyed. At 10:25 p.m. minute 4, the missile battalion of the War Tower fired at tops 600 and 602 but only hit one B-52 at 22:29. A group of B-52s numbered 602 was spraying bombs at the border station and was attacked by the 78th Missile Battalion. On the ground, the Spear was shot and dropped at Din Kong. At 22:30 from Group 76, the Red Flag Regiment Group at the Yangtze continued to drop one aircraft at Tuong Mai, Hanoi, then only 4 minutes later Battalion 93 at Phu Thuy hit another outside aircraft over Noi Bai Airport airspace. The plane crashed in Tuyen Quang. At 22:42, the 79th Battalion at Yen Nia shot down a B-52 belonging to Group 406. The big battle ended at 22:52 when the 59th Battalion launched the final segment into the B-52 group numbered 401 of the Missile Defense Battalions. Hanoi and Haiphong fought 27 battles, consuming 49 missiles and recorded shooting down 8 B-52s, of which 4 fell on the spot. After the big battle on the night of December 26, 1972, the nights next, the number of B-52 missions dropped dramatically. On December 27, the U.S. Air Force mobilized 60 B-52s at the same time, continuing to use 26 A-7s and 29 F-4s to attack during the day. Predicting the decline of the U.S. Air Defense Command, the Air Force ordered missile units to shoot without restriction, selling many B-52s. Possible to put more pressure on the U.S. to stop fighting. From the 23rd in just 4 minutes, the 94th Missile Battalion from Tam Son, the 72nd Missile Battalion from the Dai Chu battlefield, the 59th Battalion from the Sun Dong battlefield and the 77th Group from the Kem battlefield, all shot down the B-52 also that night. On December 27, for the first time, a B-52 Flying Fortress was shot down by a MiG-21 fighter. This means that the pilot must cooperate with the missile troops on the ground so that when the missiles are fired, if the F-4 spread out, the MiG-21 had a chance to get close to the B-52 because the B-52 was equipped with many thermal devices that interfered with the missile detector, so pilot Pham Tuan tried to get close to the B-52 at a distance of 2 to 3 kilometers before launching the missile at that distance. The missile only took 2 to 3 seconds to reach the target, so the B-52 didn't have time to release decoys, learning from Vu Din Rang's incident. Just launching one missile was not enough to take down the B-52 on the spot, so Pham Tuan launched it immediately. Both missiles hit the target and did not retain the backup missile on December 28. Pilot Hoang Tam Hung with the MiG-21 shot down a RA-5C, and when returning, he fought with 12 American F-4s when using the missile. The second fire took down another F-4 but was hit by an AIM missile. 78 Pilot Hung died in battle at the age of 24. On the night of December 28, the U.S. Air Force used 36 B-52s to bomb Dong An Da Phuc, Yen. Vien, Gia Lam. 24 B-52s bombed Dong Mo Lang Sun. Pilot Vu Zan Thu recorded downing a B-52 over Sunla, but the plane crashed and Vu Zan Thu died. Both American pilots died in battle. On December 29, the U.S. continued to use 50 tactical aircraft to attack air defense positions and traffic hubs around Hanoi. However, on the night of December 29, the U.S. Air Force did not attack Hanoi but used 24 B-52s to attack Tai Nguyen City, 9 B-52s to attack Hoa Lac Airport, and 21 other B-52s to attack Dong Mo Lang Sun Station, as well as during the night the 79th Firepower Battalion at Yen Nia Battlefield opened fire. A B-52 could not reach its target. At 7:30 a.m. on December 30, President Nixon announced a cessation of bombing from the 12th parallel and beyond, accepted to meet at the Paris conference. The whole world waited with bated breath. Can Hanoi withstand the destructive attack from the U.S. Air Force? On the morning of December 30, the radio waves from the Voice of Vietnam station broadcast from the heart of the capital were like a strong affirmation that Hanoi still stood strong. The Linebacker II campaign ended after 12 days. During the night of the campaign, there were a total of 741 B-52 bombings and 3,920 tactical bombers of the U.S. Air Force and Navy. Total northern Vietnam suffered more than 36,000 tons of bombs. According to U.S. estimates, Vietnam launched more than 1,000 missiles after 12 days and nights. However, according to statistics from the Vietnamese Army, in fact, during the entire campaign, they only launched 334 missiles, which the U.S. estimates. The error in calculating the number of missiles launched was due to Vietnam's tactic of firing fake missiles. After the U.S. Air Force campaign, a total of 81 aircraft were shot down on the spot in 12 days and nights, including 34 B-52s, 5 F-111s, 2 on the spot. The Vietnamese press called this campaign, called Linebacker II, the Battle of Dien Bien Phu in the air, as a way to highlight the victory of the Air Defense Force of the Democratic Republic of Vietnam in the campaign after the decisive defeat in the sky. Hanoi. The United States was forced to sign the Paris Agreement on January 27, 1973, pledging to respect the basic rights of the Vietnamese people, accepting the complete withdrawal of American expeditionary troops and American-aligned countries from Vietnam. It is not only meaningful to Vietnam's national liberation cause but also important to the movement for peace around the world.